My cousin stole daughter's car money for surgery. I exposed her true secret. She stole from my daughter. So I exposed her true face to family. My cousin Sarah destroyed my daughter's future to pay for cosmetic surgery. And I made sure everyone found out the truth. Sarah thought family meant free money until she learned actions have consequences. I'm still processing what happened over the past 3 months. The sleepless nights, the family meetings, the legal consultations, the watching my daughter's heart break, and then slowly heal. Maybe writing this down will help me figure out if I did the right thing. But honestly, every time I see Emma drive past in her Honda, that reliable blue sedan she picked out herself, I know justice was served. Sometimes justice requires a parent to become a warrior. My daughter Emma is 16, and she was saving for her first car, something she'd worked toward with the dedication of someone twice her age for 2 long years. Babysitting the Henderson kids 3 houses down every Tuesday and Thursday evening, doing odd jobs around the house, cleaning gutters in the fall, washing cars on weekends, organizing garage sales for neighbors who trusted her with their cash boxes, raking leaves in autumn, shoveling snow in winter, helping elderly Mrs. Patterson with her grocery shopping. Every single dollar, every quarter, every penny went into her savings account with the discipline of someone who understood the value of delayed gratification. We'd check the balance together on Sunday mornings after breakfast, making it a ritual, planning which car she might buy, talking about the freedom it would represent, the independence that comes with your first set of wheels, the ability to drive herself to school, to work, to friends' houses without depending on anyone else. Emma has always been responsible, mature beyond her years, the kind of kid who reminds you to lock the door when you leave, who saves birthday money instead of spending it immediately, who does her homework without being asked, who helps with household chores without being told. But she trusted the wrong person, and that person was someone who should have protected her instead of preying on her, someone who used that trust as a weapon against a child. Sarah, my younger cousin who I'd grown up with, who I'd helped through her teenage years, who I'd celebrated with at family gatherings, moved in with us temporarily last spring after her messy, contentious divorce. She was supposed to stay 3 weeks while apartment hunting, just long enough to get back on her feet. She said, just until she found something affordable in her price range, something that would give her a fresh start, a new beginning. That turned into 3 months of eating our food, using our Wi-Fi, doing her laundry in our machines, taking long showers that ran up our water bill, leaving dishes in the sink, expecting Emma to clean up after her, and apparently studying Emma's banking habits with the calculating patience of a predator watching its prey. I should have noticed the signs, but when family stays with you, you want to help, you want to believe they have good intentions, you want to think that blood means something, that shared history creates loyalty. But I was naive. Sarah kept asking about Emma's savings, asking detailed probing questions about the account, asking if the money was just sitting there doing nothing, earning minimal interest, suggesting Emma should invest it, or at least put it somewhere with better interest rates, maybe a money market account, maybe some low-risk bonds. She seemed so concerned about Emma's financial future, so interested in helping her make smart decisions about wealth building, about making her money work harder for her. Looking back, I realized she was casing the account like a professional thief surveys a house before breaking in. She was learning Emma's patterns, her PIN number, her security questions, her banking schedule, her daily routines, everything she'd need to clean out that account when the time was right, when Emma would be safely at school, unable to stop the theft in progress. Sarah had always been vain. Even as a kid, spending hours in front of mirrors trying on makeup, practicing poses for selfies, obsessing over her appearance in ways that seemed excessive but harmless at the time. But the divorce hit her hard and turned that vanity into something darker, more desperate, more dangerous. She started obsessing over her appearance in unhealthy ways, talking constantly about how her ex-husband left her for a younger woman, someone with a better body, a prettier face, someone who hadn't gained weight during their marriage, someone who still looked 25 instead of 35. She needed to reinvent herself, she said, needed to feel beautiful again, needed to compete in a world that valued youth and beauty above everything else, needed to turn back the clock to reclaim what time had taken from her, what pregnancy and stress and life had stolen. What she needed, apparently, was $23,000 for a complete makeover. Breast augmentation to go from a B cup to a D cup, tummy tucked to remove the loose skin from her pregnancy years ago, facial work including a facelift and chemical peels, rhinoplasty to reshape her nose, lip fillers to create that perfect pout. The whole package. She'd researched it extensively, found the best plastic surgeon in the state, made consultation appointments, studied before and after photos, planned every detail of her transformation, except how to pay for it legally. Emma came home from school crying last Tuesday, Not the quiet tears of a stubborn teenager upset about homework or friendship drama, but the deep, desperate sobs of someone whose trust had been shattered completely, whose faith in family had been destroyed, whose future had been stolen by someone she loved. She had tried to check her account balance at lunch between her English and history classes, wanting to see how close she was to her car goal, how much more she needed to save before she could start shopping for her dream car. The money was gone. Every penny she'd saved for 2 years of backbreaking work, of sacrificing teenage fun, of saying no to movies and shopping trips and restaurant meals with friends, just vanished like it never existed at all, like her dreams didn't matter. The account showed a balance of $4.37, the minimum required to keep the account open, a cruel reminder of what once was. I called the bank immediately, my hands shaking with rage and disbelief as I dialed the customer service number, wading through the automated menu system, fighting the urge to throw my phone against the wall. They confirmed several large withdrawals over the past week, all made with Emma's debit card at ATMs strategically located near medical facilities across the city. The plastic surgery center, the recovery facility, the medical spa where post-operative care was provided. The timestamps showed the withdrawals happened while Emma was at school, sitting in chemistry class taking notes about molecular structures, or taking a history test about World War II, while Sarah was supposedly job hunting, driving around town looking for employment opportunities, submitting applications, and attending interviews. Instead, she was systematically draining my daughter's future, one calculated withdrawal at a time, turning Emma's dreams into her own twisted version of self-improvement. I confronted Sarah that evening. She was in the bathroom, doing her elaborate new skincare routine, looking at herself in the mirror like she was preparing for a magazine photo shoot or a red carpet appearance. She'd recently started this expensive regimen with creams and serums that cost more than most people spend on groceries, products that I now realized Emma had unknowingly paid for with her babysitting money. When I asked about Emma's money, her response made my blood boil and my hands clench into fists. Oh, come on, David. It's not like she really needed a car right now. She's only 16. She's got plenty of time. She can wait a few more years until she graduates, maybe gets a part-time job, maybe learns to appreciate things more. Besides, I'm family and I was desperate. You have no idea what it's like to feel invisible, to walk into a room and see men look right through you like you don't exist, like you're already past your expiration date, like you're not worth a second glance. I needed this, David. I needed to feel beautiful again. I needed to feel like I mattered, like I was worth something. And Emma will understand someday when she's older, when she realizes how cruel the world can be to women who aren't perfect. I felt sick listening to her justify stealing from a child, her twisted logic, her complete lack of remorse, her selfish rationalization of theft. She actually thought being family gave her some kind of right to take whatever she wanted whenever she needed it. She'd spent weeks gaining Emma's trust, asking about her dreams, her plans, her hopes for the future, her college aspirations, her part-time job ideas, her savings goals, building a relationship based on lies and manipulation. And then she just took it all without a second thought, like Emma's feelings, Emma's future. Emma's trust didn't matter at all, like a 16-year-old's dreams were disposable compared to a 35-year-old woman's vanity. Sarah tried to justify it further, claiming she'd pay Emma back once she got a good job, which would happen faster now that she looked better, now that she had confidence, now that men would notice her again, now that she could compete with younger women in the workplace. The circular logic was insane and infuriating. She stole money to look good to get a job to pay back the money she stole. It was like listening to someone explain why robbing a bank to invest in the stock market was actually a sound financial strategy. Emma was devastated, not just about the money, but about the betrayal, the violation of trust that cut deeper than any financial loss. Sarah had been like a big sister to her, someone she confided in, trusted completely, shared secrets with, talked to about boys in school and her plans for the future. Now Emma felt stupid for trusting anyone. She kept saying, I should have hidden my bank information. I should have known better. I should have seen the signs. I should have protected myself better. I held her while she cried, explaining that trust shouldn't require paranoia, that good people don't expect family members to be thieves, that Sarah's choices weren't Emma's fault, that the world shouldn't work this way even though sometimes it does. Sarah seemed to think the matter was closed, like we'd had a disagreement about chores or curfew. She even had the nerve to suggest Emma start saving again, like nothing happened, like stealing $23,000 was just a temporary setback in Emma's financial planning. When I mentioned involving the police, Sarah actually laughed. You really want to destroy your cousin over money? Emma will be fine. Kids are resilient. She needs to learn that life isn't fair anyway. This is actually a good lesson for her about trusting people too easily. That was her second mistake. The first was stealing from my daughter. I documented everything with the methodical precision of someone building a legal case. The ATM receipts showing withdrawals at medical facilities, the bank statements highlighting the suspicious activity patterns, the conversations I started recording after that first confrontation. Sarah talking casually about stealing from a 16-year-old like it was borrowing sugar or asking for gas money. She had no idea I was building evidence against her. Every word she said just made her look worse, made her seem more callous, more entitled, more deserving of whatever consequences were coming. The bank confirmed the transactions were unauthorized since Emma never gave permission and was in school during each withdrawal. According to their investigation, this wasn't a case of Emma losing her card or giving someone permission to use it. This was systematic theft by someone in a position of trust, which according to the customer service representative is actually considered more serious than random theft because it involves manipulation and betrayal. I filed a police report the next morning. The officer was sympathetic but explained it would be complicated since Sarah had been living with us and had access to Emma's information. It wasn't breaking and entering, it was more like theft by someone in a position of trust, which is actually worse in my opinion because it requires more planning, more deception, more betrayal. While the police investigation began, I decided Sarah needed to face immediate consequences because legal justice moves slowly, and sometimes family justice needs to be swift and public. I gathered every family member's contact information, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, even distant relatives, and sent them a detailed group message with all the facts. Sarah stole Emma's savings, $23,000, to pay for cosmetic surgery while living in our house rent-free. I attached the bank statements, the police report number, and screenshots of Sarah's recent social media posts showing off her new look, the expensive restaurants she'd been visiting, the shopping trips she'd been taking, all funded by my daughter's hard-earned money. The response was immediate and overwhelming. My aunt called crying. She had no idea Sarah was even considering surgery. She thought Sarah was just going through a difficult time after the divorce. My uncle was furious, demanding Sarah return the money immediately, threatening to drive over and confront her himself. My grandmother, who always spoiled Sarah, who made excuses for her behavior, who bailed her out of trouble, was finally forced to see her true character. Even Sarah's own mother was appalled. She called me sobbing, saying she'd raised Sarah better than this, that she couldn't understand where she went wrong. Sarah tried damage control, calling everyone, claiming I was exaggerating, that it was a misunderstanding, that she planned to pay Emma back all along, that I was being dramatic and vindictive. But the evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. The bank statements told the truth in black and white numbers. Her social media posts showed her flaunting her new appearance, while Emma grieved her stolen dreams. The timeline made it impossible to deny she'd planned this systematically. The family turned against Sarah faster than I expected. My grandmother demanded Sarah move out of my uncle's house where she'd gone after I kicked her out. My aunt stopped taking her calls and started sending them straight to voicemail. My cousins unfriended her on social media and blocked her phone number. Even her own mother set an ultimatum. Return the money immediately or lose family support entirely. No more bailouts, no more excuses, no more enabling behavior. Sarah's response was to double down and make everything worse. She posted a long Facebook rant about toxic family members and how cosmetic surgery was an investment in her future. She actually wrote that Emma should be grateful for the lesson about financial security, that this experience would teach her valuable life skills about protecting her money better next time. The comments section was brutal. People who knew the real story called her out publicly. Neighbors who'd seen Emma working in our yard, babysitting kids, doing chores for money, they all knew where that money came from. Sarah tried deleting comments, but screenshots had already spread across social media. She became a local scandal, the cautionary tale, the woman who stole from her teenage cousin for vanity surgery. People shared her story in community Facebook groups, used it as an example of how not to treat family. The bank investigation concluded within 2 weeks. They determined the withdrawals were fraudulent and began the process of recovering the funds from Sarah's accounts. But most of the money was already spent on irreversible procedures. Sarah had planned this carefully, withdrawing just enough to cover her surgery costs while leaving a few dollars in Emma's account, hoping to delay discovery, hoping we wouldn't notice until she was long gone with her new face and body. Sarah lost her job at the dental office where she'd been working temp shifts. Apparently, patient trust is important when you're handling their payment information and insurance claims, and everyone in town knew she was a thief. Her reputation preceded her to every potential employer. Her landlord evicted her when the story spread. He didn't want that kind of person in his building, didn't want the liability of renting to someone known for stealing from family members. Sarah ended up living in her car for a week, sleeping in parking lots, using gas station bathrooms, before finally agreeing to our terms. Complete repayment to Emma within 6 months plus interest for the inconvenience, and a public apology on social media acknowledging what she'd done, admitting her guilt, and taking full responsibility. The apology post was pathetic but necessary. I stole money from my 16-year-old cousin Emma to pay for cosmetic surgery while living in her family's home rent-free. I betrayed her trust and caused her real pain. There's no excuse for what I did. I'm working to pay back every penny with interest. Emma didn't deserve this, and I'm ashamed of my actions. The comments were a mix of disgust and satisfaction. People love seeing consequences catch up with someone who thinks they're above basic decency, above family loyalty, above treating children with respect. Sarah had to sell her car to make the first payment. She moved in with a distant relative 3 counties away and took a minimum wage job at a gas station. Her social media went dark except for the apology post, which she couldn't delete per our agreement. Emma got her money back with interest and bought her dream car, a reliable Honda with low mileage, good safety ratings, and excellent gas mileage. She drives past Sarah's old apartment sometimes and always texts me afterwards saying she's glad we stood up for what was right. Glad we didn't let Sarah get away with it. The family learned a valuable lesson about enabling bad behavior, about making excuses for people who take advantage of kindness. Emma learned that some people will fight for her when she can't fight for herself, that families should protect each other, not prey on each other. Sarah learned that actions have consequences and family doesn't mean free passes for terrible behavior. Last I heard, she's still working at that gas station, still paying off the interest portion of what she owes Emma, still dealing with the social consequences of her choices. Everywhere she goes, people remember her as the woman who stole from a kid. She destroyed her reputation, her relationships, her financial stability, all for cosmetic surgery that can't fix the ugly person she became on the inside. Emma is 17 now, confident behind the wheel of her car, proud of how she handled the situation with grace and maturity. She started a small business doing social media management for local shops, using the experience of watching Sarah's online downfall as a lesson in digital reputation management. She's thriving while Sarah faces the consequences of choosing vanity over family, trust over theft. Sarah thought stealing from a kid would be easy, consequence-free money. Instead, she learned that protecting family, especially children, is a responsibility that some people take very seriously. Emma's savings account is healthy again, but more importantly, her faith in family was restored by watching everyone rally around her when it mattered most. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting someone face the natural consequences of their choices while you build something better from the ashes of their betrayal.